lessons we are meant to be guided through, and with the changing seasons, November has historically been a month for diving deep. This is the month when we are called to focus on our soul's work. November is represented by the number 11, which is one of two master numbers in numerology. The number 11 represents synchronicity, the diving calling and the prospect of new beginnings on the horizon. In fact, when we see this number either 11 or 111 out in the world on clocks, phone numbers or even license plates, it's the universe giving us a sign to focus, to look at what is trying to call to us. It's also letting us know that we're on the right track. This month is no exception. It's a year where we have all been asked to dig deep, to find the truth. The end of a year is always a time for reflection, and with the change of seasons, it's also a call to go within and spend time focusing on what we want and who we are. Naturally, there is a season for everything. There is a season to plant, to grow, to harvest, and to rest. At the end of the harvest season, we are now getting to the root of what has been growing for some time, and now is when we are supposed to be blessed with the bounty of what we have reaped. For many of us, it seems that the idea of merging with our twin flames has become a major focus, and while perhaps it's not the label that's most important, it seems that it also helps in distinguishing different connections from one another. The reason that so many have had interactions with the person they believe to be their twin flame is that we created a soul contract with them before coming into this lifetime. We knew that in order to do our deepest work, we would also need to do it together, because none of us are alone in our destiny. One of the most interesting aspects of a deep soul contract is how each person can affect the other, depending upon what stage of awakening or ascension they are in. If one or both individuals are still struggling and vibrating at a lower frequency, then they will actually repel the one with whom they have a connection with. Because whether we call them our twin flames, we won't actually be in the place to join them in this life until we are ready for them, which means that we can take ownership of our wounds and not project them. It also means that we have done, and are still in progress of doing our own work, because the point of this connection isn't to only join when the work is done, but to enhance that process for each person involved. There is no final destination for these types of connections, though. It only depends upon where each person is on their own path and what lifetime they are in. That being said, something special does occur during November each year that is meant to bring these types of connections into our lives. In moments of reflection, we may find that we met a person of importance during this month, or that we have had some major milestones with them during this season. But each time that our paths cross doesn't always mean that they are meant to join. It only means that the souls are checking in on each other, to see how they are developing subconsciously, and to see if they are possibly ready to join and accomplish some deeper soul work. This is the dance of the twin flames. They come in and out of our lives, sometimes for long periods of time, and sometimes shorter. Yet, it's not the duration that matters most, but the intensity. The beautiful thing about these deep, unexplainable connections is that time is irrelevant, and there is no such thing as too late or missed opportunities. In fact, it's this dance we need in order to continually grow into our greater purpose, with the irony being that only this type of connection can foster that growth. Think of it like gardening in our own yards. When we plant the seeds, we don't come back the next day to harvest the fruit. However, we do check in on them to see how they're doing, to see if watering or fertilizing is needed. Then time passes, and maybe we don't check in as often, but suddenly we see fruit beginning to grow upon the plant's delicate vines. But still, we don't pick the fruit, because it's not yet ripe. Only when the fruit is ripe and ready to be picked do we finally enjoy what we've been tending. Our deepest soul connections are no different than the fruit we've taken time to grow. Sometimes it's just a check-in, sometimes it's a push for growth, and at others times, it may finally be ripe enough to enjoy. It's an experience that will be different for each one of us, because we are all at different stages of personal growth, and just like when we are growing our own fruit and vegetables, there is no need to rush the process. There is no need to force these connections in any way, because they truly grow best when left to do it organically and naturally. Because things can only happen in their own time, and just like in nature, the best of things always take time. You were a risk, a mystery, and the most certain thing I'd ever known. Bo Taplin.